Disney fans are some of the most loyal fans around, but what happens when the fans create even better stories than their creators? Watch this video until the end as we reveal the most shocking fan theory of all time that may even be true. Are you new around here? Subscribe below to stay in the loop on everything. Now for 10 Disney fan theories that are better than the original. Toy Story. Andy's mom owned Jessie. Get your tissues ready, people. This one's going to be a heartbreaker. The theory is that Jessie, the jaded toy introduced in Toy Story 2, is actually Andy's mom's old cowgirl. Pixar and Disney rely on emotional connection and turmoil to keep their stories moving forward, but this storyline was never resolved. So why would Jessie be Andy's mother's old toy? Well, Jessie has an extreme fear of abandonment until Andy gains her trust. However, in the flashbacks that reveal her old owner, Emily, the similarities between her and Andy's mother are definitely apparent. Sure, Emily is younger in the flashback and her hair is slightly lighter, but there is also a red cowgirl hat laid on the bed, the same hat that Andy has, which could be a hand-me-down from his mom. Emily played with Jessie and forgot about her, but Jessie never forgot the fun times they shared. Jessie does come in contact with Andy's mother, but she seems to not recognize the elder lady. Thank goodness, that would break Jessie's heart. The once young girl, who she loved more than anything, doesn't even have a fleeting recognition of the toy. Jessie's fear of abandonment could definitely come from Andy's mother. Aladdin takes place in post-apocalyptic times. Sure, we can take an educated guess on where the animated feature Aladdin takes place, but it is never specified. Also, why can the genie impersonate people from our generation? Remember when the genie acts out Jack Nicholson and Rodney Dangerfield? How about the genie referring to Aladdin's clothes as so 3rd century? The genie seems to give all the hints that Aladdin actually takes place in the far-off future after some horrific nuclear war. With our time a mere memory, the genie even knows about modern technology like cars, slot machines, and electricity. This theory is pretty spot on. The genie complains about his sore neck after 10,000 years of condemnation to his lamp. Probably because whatever awful event occurred swept off everyone else except for those in the Middle East. Now everyone is just getting back up to speed with wooden carts, except the magic carpet, which may be a select item that survived the apocalypse. The name of where the story takes place is Agrabah, which sounds scarily similar to Arabia. Maybe over the years of suffering and rebuilding the lost world, the name slowly started to be pronounced wrong? The fan who was smart enough to conjure this up theorizes that the film takes place in 12,000 AD. We have to wait that long to see a flying carpet? Ugh, come on, Apple, make one already. Frozen and The Little Mermaid are linked. This theory links two classic Disney films together, claiming they all take place in the same world. A world where singing and dancing is regular, where Ursula and talking reindeer are normal. In this musical world, Frozen and The Little Mermaid are linked by way of the ocean. Let us explain, but brace yourselves, because this theory involves some morbid deaths off-screen. Disney seems to be darker than they let on. At the opening of Frozen, Anna and Elsa's parents sail off to sea, with a parting, ominous statement along the lines of, "We'll see you soon." Elsa and Anna's parents died in that boat accident after heading off to sea, maybe even for a royal wedding between the Tangled lovebirds, which would link yet another Disney film. But wherever they were headed, this is where the theory takes a turn, that the ship that Ariel explores on the bottom of the sea inspecting artifacts and singing was actually Elsa and Anna's parents' boat that crashed, which would make sense if these stories took place in northern European countries such as Denmark or Norway, which would make them accessible to each other but with dangerous oceans in between. These new theories sure place the innocent and lively Disney shows into a sinister realm. Inside Out. Bing Bong didn't actually die. Inside Out was released in 2015 and was praised for its view on mental health while also making the film for children. The creators discussed the main emotions of joy, fear, anger, disgust, and sadness portrayed to the audience in the form of characters. Another character in the film is Bing Bong, voiced by Richard Kind. Bing Bong dies in the end after sacrificing himself for Riley, one of the most tear-jerking moments of the film, when he helps get Joy back to the main booth, the brain, to save Riley before it's too late. A thought that may save this depressing moment, the theory that Bing Bong is actually from Monsters, Inc., and that Bing Bong used to visit Riley when she was younger, just like how Sully would visit Boo. This theory would mean that Bing Bong didn't actually die, but that the memory of Bing Bong died, making it much more bearable to process. We can imagine Bing Bong visiting other children from the Monsters, Inc. headquarters as he laughs along with Sully. Pixar and Disney were extremely accurate with their portrayal of imaginary friends, as well as their knowledge of psychology. If this theory isn't true, people have also discussed Bing Bong being an imaginary friend of Riley's to cope with their family's move, and being an only child. Captain Hook killed Ariel's mom. Captain Hook is known as the funny but ruthless villain from Peter Pan, with his left hand replaced by a hook to make him extra evil. In The Little Mermaid, Ariel's father is King Triton, who is married to Athena, who appears to be seen in Peter Pan and is slain by pirates. Yes, surprise, surprise, Disney is getting dark again behind closed doors. In Peter Pan, there is a mermaid who looks almost identical to Ariel, hinting at the fact that this could be her mother, Athena. Another confirming factor of the theory is the timeline with which the films were released. The Little Mermaid was released in 1989. In the film, Ariel is 16 years old. Peter Pan was released in 1953, and the unknown red-headed mermaid in the film would have been 36 years old. Ariel was born in 1973, so perhaps pirates following the actions of Captain Hook killed Athena. Maybe slightly convoluted, but it also makes perfect sense. The 2008 release of The Little Mermaid, Ariel's Beginning, reveals that Ariel's mother did look almost identical to her. Therefore, this can confirm the theory that Athena was in Peter Pan. Whether or not the creators intended this or not, it is a pretty perfect setup. Walt Disney's past has made his characters motherless. The list goes on and on of Disney characters that don't have mothers. Bambi's mother famously dies. However, this film was being produced around the time Walt Disney's own mother passed away. So, is there a link between the genius creator and his motherless characters? Some have theorized it is from Walt and Roy's tragic mother's death, and their feelings of responsibility. After the success of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, the brothers had enough money to buy their mother a home in Hollywood. However, due to a defective furnace, Flora, their mother, died of carbon monoxide poisoning. It is speculated that perhaps this has contributed to the extensive list of characters without a mother figure. In an interview with Glamour magazine, the executive producer of Maleficent, Don Hahn, says, "In shorthand, it's much quicker to have characters grow up when you bump off their parents. Bambi's mother gets killed, so he has to grow up." Don alludes to the fact that Disney was haunted by his mother's loss, and despite his continued work, it did play a large part in his films. Tangled and Frozen. Elsa, Anna, and Rapunzel are cousins. Throughout the Disney films, especially Frozen, there are a ton of little gems and references that hint at the greater Disney universe. These Easter eggs connect the Pixar and Disney worlds together at times, which is where a lot of the fan theories come from. For example, in Frozen, there is a Mickey Mouse on the shelf, or a candy pile that looks eerily similar to the Sugarland and Sugar Rush from Wreck-It Ralph. Normally, these are nice nods to the Disney fans, but sometimes we think they divulge Disney's secrets if we can look further, such as Anna and Elsa and Rapunzel being cousins. King Agnar and Queen Iduna sail off, and it has been theorized they are going to Rapunzel's wedding. Then later on at the brief coronation, Rapunzel and Flynn are briefly seen in the background. Fans say the couple wouldn't travel over such dangerous seas just for any old royal wedding. To further the theory, two of these three cousins have superpowers, traits that would normally run in a family. Elsa has freeze ray powers and Rapunzel has hair with superpowers, both of them blonde. Perhaps it is genetic? Seems like the king and queen had a legitimate reason to hide Elsa away after they learned about her cousin, Rapunzel's blonde-haired superpowers. Frozen and Tarzan. Elsa and Anna's parents are also Tarzan's parents. Since Frozen cooled off screens around the globe in 2013, a theory has been circulating about a possible set of unlikely siblings. In Tarzan, the shipwreck that left him and his family on a threatening island all alone to fend for himself may possibly have been sailing from a winter wonderland. At the beginning of Frozen, Elsa and Anna's parents have sailed off and their deaths are not seen on screen. But perhaps they are in an altogether different film, Tarzan. This theory makes Elsa, Anna, and Tarzan long-lost siblings. The girls' parents, King Agnar and the pregnant queen of Arendelle, never return. We can imagine them giving birth on the ship, crashing on the jungle island, trying to survive, but instead facing their fate. Meanwhile, Tarzan is saved by gorillas and is raised into the ape-man we best know him as. This theory seems pretty solid to us. The co-director of Frozen, Chris Buck, says during a Reddit AMA, they end up building a treehouse and a leopard kills them, so their baby boy is raised by gorillas. So in my little head, Anna and Elsa's brother is Tarzan. Poor Elsa and Anna will never know they have a brother raised by gorillas. Finding Nemo. Nemo died. Finding Nemo is an all-time favorite classic, and maybe this is because it hits deeper chords in us than we realize. Many theories have discussed that Finding Nemo is actually an allegory for grief, that Marlin, Nemo's father, actually lost Nemo along with his wife and the rest of his family at the beginning of the film. The film opens on a sad note. Coral, Marlin's wife, and all their eggs are attacked by a vicious fish, killing everyone but Nemo. However, what if Nemo had died? We forgot to warn you to fetch your tissues, but it's too late now. In Latin, Nemo means nothing, which could be a hint that Nemo is a figment of Marlin's imagination. And then there are the stages of grief mapped out throughout the film, starting with denial, anger, bargaining, despair, and finally, acceptance. Through the course of the movie, Marlin battles many obstacles, almost dying along the way, but he makes a friend in Dory. By the end of the film, after traversing his world of suffering loss across the oceans, he is reunited with Nemo as he accepts his grief, leaving us with a hint of symbolism. Nemo's manifestation drifts off to sea. Marlin is finally left with acceptance and some peace. Monsters, Inc. Boo is the witch in Brave. Our very own Boo from Monsters, Inc. is all grown up, says a theory about the little tyke from the famous film that made monsters lovable. Of course, Disney and Pixar are always thinking of new and wonderful ways for us to see a new perspective on life, and this film is one of them. However, one thing that isn't wrapped up is the magic that Boo experiences. So, what makes fans think that Boo is the witch from Brave? Well, first off, when the witch goes through doors, she disappears. Fans theorize that after Boo's experience as a child, she became obsessed with magic and started experimenting. Finally, finding out how to time travel, Boo may have even learned a thing or two from Sully. Brave does take place hundreds of years before Monsters, Inc., so Boo would have discovered how to remain in the past. This explains why she disappears after going through doors, a callback to her younger years in Monsters, Inc. This theory is interesting, especially since in the Witch's Workshop in Brave, if you look really closely, you can see a carving of Sully on one of the pieces of wood. A fun little additive by the creators, or maybe a window into the past and a larger picture. Which theory do you like best? Do you have any theories of your own? Let us know all about them in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and hey, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye!